Hey everybody, this is TJR. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. If not, welcome back. And recently, I posted a video where I did an unboxing of the Who's Next 50th anniversary box set. This was a 6 CD set, including 2 hardcover books and some other gewgaws and doodads as well. And during the unboxing, I said that if there was one thing I wanted to follow up on and do another video on, it would be the Lifehouse demos, which are enclosed in these 2 discs right here. Out of all the audio material included in this set, and there's a lot, I felt like these 2 discs, the Lifehouse demos, are probably the most important. And so I wanted to do a follow-up on them. These are, of course, as many of you know, the Lifehouse demos is all we have of what was going to be the concept album follow-up to Tommy. That project never came to be. Lifehouse became one of those greatest albums never made, right alongside, Smile by the Beach Boys, which, of course, later on Brian Wilson would complete. But, of course, on the upside, we would get the landmark classic album, Who's Next, as a result. Now, the box set does contain a hardcover book, and one chapter in the book is a track-by-track guide from Pete Townshend for each and every recording on these 2 discs. However, I chose to listen to these tracks first without reading any of what Townshend had to say about them. So by and large, the thoughts that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video are going to be my reactions to them as just the music, without any preconceived notions, save for when I compare them to the release versions on either Who's Next, Odds and Sods, and some of the Townshend solo albums that these tracks ended up appearing on in a different form of some sort or another. By the way, this video is part 1, which is disc 1. Disc 2 will be part 2. Hopefully that will get posted next Sunday. Not promising, but hopefully next Sunday. So let's dive in. Disc 1, track 1, Teenage Wasteland. Honestly, the more I hear, the more I love this version of the song that would eventually become known to the rest of us as Baba O'Reilly. Hearing the lyrics to this song sung over a completely different musical landscape is like hearing them again for the first time. Whereas the Who's Next version is defiant and self-confident, this Lifehouse demo version is filled with mystery and awe, only to finally land on the now iconic F major to C major to B flat major chord progression that we all associate now with these lyrics. In my opinion, this version is easily as epic as the legacy classic that it would end up becoming. Growing up in the 70s as a teenager, myself and my peers, we always wondered, why didn't they title Baba O'Reilly? Why didn't they call it Teenage Wasteland after all? So it is oddly reassuring to find out that the title, Teenage Wasteland, is what was always originally intended. Track 2, Too Much. Now, a live version of this track was made available on the Who's Next Deluxe Edition. The live version, of course, features Daltrey-only vocals. An additional studio version featuring Roger Daltrey's vocals and Nicky Hopkins on piano would also appear on the Odds and Sods compilation album. Honestly, I like this demo version over the live one on the deluxe edition. The Odds and Sods version has a much more completed feel to it, obviously because, this is a demo. But as a demo, I have to say that I love the emotionally warm feel that Townshend manages to capture in his recording. And I find myself liking it more than the completed version released on Odds and Sods. Track 3, Goin' Mobile. There is a looseness to this demo version that I really enjoy. The stark, more acoustic, more stripped down production is really enjoyable. And I would guess that a lot of this stems from the fact that the song is, at this point in time, much more fresh for Pete Townshend. And thus, it has this more rambunctious spirit than the Who's Next version. Of course, what this demo version lacks is the indisputable chemistry that is Pete Townshend, Roger Daltrey, Keith Moon, and John Entwistle on the Who's Next version. I find these pretty much to be equally enjoyable. Track 4, There's a Fortune in Those Hills. Now, this track is also on the deluxe version of the Pete Townshend solo album, Who Came First? And it appears to my ears to be the exact same version that we experience in this 50th anniversary box set, save for the fact that this set version is remastered. I like this track a lot. There is an epic quality to this recording, and yet Townshend himself in the book, and this is one of the few times I'll be quoting the book, is not 100% sure if it was meant for Lifehouse, but included it because of when it was recorded, in other words, the time frame that it was recorded in, and because so many bootleg archivists have included it as part of the Lifehouse sessions. And just like Teenage Wasteland, I am enjoying this track more and more with each listen. Track 5, Love Ain't for Keeping. I honestly really enjoy the spacier and more expansive sounding vibe of this earlier version, but I have to say this version is shorter than its Who's Next version. This song becomes also much leaner and meaner under the Who's guidance, but I think both are really enjoyable. Track 6, Bargain. Some of Townshend's demos are so fully realized that honestly, they feel releasable. And this, however, is one Townshend demo where you can tell that it is in fact a demo, especially when you compare it to the Who's Next version. The band version has more power and toughness to it, but this demo has a musical zip to it. That's the best way I can describe it, that I really enjoy. And also, Townshend's vocals deliver a level of sincerity in all the right places. I personally still like the Who's Next version better, but the Lifehouse demo is still really enjoyable. Track 7, Greyhound Girl. This was a real surprise. You see, there is a live version of this on the Endless Wire deluxe edition of that album. I honestly much more prefer this demo version. There is a real sense of power and drama to the arrangement, the musical arrangement that you hear in this recording. And honestly, now that I've heard this version, I'm really surprised that The Who never attempted a version of their own. Track 8, Mary. This is an absolutely beautiful acoustic-driven ballad. There is a sense of longing to this track. Now, the credits state alternative mix, but honestly, I don't think this song has appeared on any previous official Who or Pete Townshend solo release. If anyone knows differently, please let us know in the comments here. But I am glad that I have finally had the chance to experience it here. And just like Greyhound Girl, this is as a strong a track as any other that I've heard so far. Track 9, Behind Blue Eyes. Now, for this particular version, it's just acoustic guitar and Townshend's vocals, which are doubled. He harmonizes with himself a little bit on this. The lack of any other instrumentation makes this perhaps the most demo-sounding demo on this release. But I have to admit, it also works as an acoustic version of the song on its own terms. The Who's Next version is, of course, preferable, but this demo is a nice companion and will live in my digital collection on my mobile device right alongside the album version. Track 10, Time Is Passing. There is a live version of this track on the previously released deluxe version of Who's Next. The live version is much more countrified than its Lifehouse version. This Lifehouse version arrangement, I feel, fits the album's science fiction conceptual theme much better, and I prefer it over the previously released deluxe edition version. Track 11, Finally Over. In the book for this set, and again, one of the few times I'll be quoting from it, Townsend describes this track as never properly completed. And honestly, I felt the same way about it before I even read his quote on it. I will say this is probably my least favorite track on disc 1. But having said that, I still think it's remarkably solid. And it's a testament to Pete Townsend's songwriting abilities that my least favorite track so far still has interesting things that I can glean from it. This brings us to the closing track for disc 1, Baba O'Reilly. Now, this is, of course, an instrumental version of the song that would open up Who's Next and would, for decades, launch so many of us into musical nirvana, starting in the 70s and beyond. This version, of course, sounds very similar to the Who's Next version, but there are some subtle and not so subtle differences, such as a completely different musical breakdown, and also the fact that this version is a bit longer as well. According to Townsend, this instrumental was supposed to be the music that the Lifehouse hackers would feed to those trapped on the grid where music was forbidden. So I guess after the Lifehouse project was discontinued, Townsend must have looked at the lyrics of Teenage Wasteland, listened to the music of Bob O'Reilly, and thought, maybe we should combine these two together. Honestly, I feel like Teenage Wasteland is just as strong. But of course, Baba O'Reilly, the version that we got back when Who's Next was released, is just a powerhouse of a track. This concludes my thoughts on the Lifehouse demos, disc 1. I hope to have part 2 posted sometime next week, and hopefully on this same bat time and same bat channel next Sunday. Not promising, but I am hoping to have it ready for you all by then. So far, I have to admit at how pleasantly surprised I have been and how much I've enjoyed these tracks on disc 1. I mean, really, it's been an enjoyable experience, and we'll see how disc 2 fares next week. In the meantime, please feel free to share your thoughts if you've listened to these. I'd love to hear what you think. As always, if you like these videos, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. I do want to thank my Patreon supporters who are helping me make more videos. Patreon supporters do receive exclusive weekly videos not available on this channel. Mostly, though, I just want to thank you for stopping by and hanging out. It means a lot that you're willing to come here and just listen to me talk about music for a little bit. Everybody, thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.